Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Today we discuss about Google Search Console. It's a free tool that helps a lot and I think it's a must have. I'm excited to discuss this topic with Agnes Bungsy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, big pleasure. Remember all your valuable insights from our first episode. Yeah, that was so good. I got a lot of engagement. People wanna know more when you share such valuable insights. And we have a sponsor today, Ahrefs SEO tools and resources to grow your search traffic. Do you know about Ahrefs?
Of course, I do. It's not that I've used it a lot, but I've heard only good things about it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think for me, Google Search Console, Google Analytics are must have. Ahrefs and many other great tools help SEO professionals to go ahead to provide much better insights, data. And before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you decided to take this topic about Google Search Console.
Yeah, I think that's going to actually help. I've been doing analytics for the last 15 years, primarily in the UK, in London. So I'm really an analyst, a digital analyst. I've done all kinds of analysis, I guess, primarily looking at websites, mobile apps as well. But the reason I'm talking to you today about Search Console is because search analytics in general is something I'm very interested in and something I've done a lot of at different companies. So I use it. So I'm not an SEO as such expert. I'm really come from a different background. Kind of someone who works with product teams, but mostly with marketing teams, helping them to understand what is driving growth or what isn't, and where is the opportunity, and how can we use the data to then drive some action, and then obviously drive more engagement, more traffic, better quality traffic. So yeah, I really look at the data that there is, and I try to make sense out of it and help businesses grow. I typically work with fairly well-established businesses. So I worked for some large companies in the past. I actually currently work for Essence Media, which is Google's digital, or really the whole media agency of Google. So I work actually on Google currently as well, which is another reason I'm so interested in search. Yeah, I could talk about search analytics and even just Search Console for a long time. I don't have anything specific to kind of, I guess, present. I just really kind of talk a little bit about the things I've personally done in the past with search, how I've seen it really help businesses to grow and really just to understand what's happening within the business, especially for companies that heavily rely on organic search traffic or just search traffic in general. Search Console is such a great source of information, and I think it's very often overlooked. And more often than not, I've seen companies, even large companies, really underutilizing Search Console because there's so much to do with it. That is not really being done, but I think part of the reason of that is the fact that the tool itself, although it has some great data in it, is not very user-friendly. So we've done some great things around really taking out the Search Console data from the tool itself, usually using APIs, taking it out of there and really enhancing the data. Enhancing the data and doing things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise if you were just to look at Search Console as a tool, as the interface, as is. Like if you wanted to do like monthly, weekly comparisons, or you wanted to compare America versus Europe, you can't really do all of those things just using the tool. But once you extract all of that data, and there's many different ways you can do that, but once you extract the data, you can enhance it, you can make it better, you can add things on top of it, you can do some aggregations, daily, weekly, country level aggregations, and query categorization, which is really, really cool and can be super, super helpful.
Nice, love it.
That's kind of, yeah, a long way.
Yeah, if I compare Google Analytics and Search Console, I think about Google Analytics, it's better to spend time to learn more about all these features, because it takes time to customize the right settings on Analytics. But on Search Console is very simple, very simple to use. Nothing special about that. Yeah, of course we can get such valuable insights about your website, about traffic, about what you can fix, but it's very simple to use, yeah. And you can find everything in the left side. Just click it and check it out. Can you tell where to start? For example, if someone set up Google Search Console and wanna get more from Google Search Console, what kind of features it's better to check out in the first stage, the second, third, and yeah, if you have some checklist, it will be great.
Well, as you're saying, the interface is extremely easy to use. And there's a limited number of things you can see in there. And in terms of the metrics, you just have SEO impressions, clicks, CTR, and position. And then in terms of the dimensions, you have the search query, country, device, and landing page. Okay. And when you look at the interface, as you're saying, it's extremely easy to use. And as long as you exactly know what you're trying to find, the interface itself should do the job. Okay. But it's really if you know exactly what you're trying to check. If it's a particular keyword or it's a particular landing page you're trying to check, that's definitely very easy to do using the interface. And you can access that data using the Search Console, or you can have it even synced up with Google Analytics itself. So there's two ways you can access the same data. But I would say if you really want to take advantage of the Search Console data, you shouldn't be just limiting it to the interface. I would strongly suggest having a way of extracting that data somewhere else, and then analyzing that outside of the interface. I think the main kind of issue I see with the interface is the fact that it gives you only up to 1,000 rows at a time. If you do have a long tail, lots of keywords you're appearing on Google for, or many landing pages, like the companies I worked with, they would have tens of thousands, tens of thousands, sometimes more than 100,000 of landing pages. It's just impossible to analyze them in the tool that is limiting you to just 1,000 rows. So once I would say this, starting with the interface itself is a good way to. It's a good thing to do. You can start with it, but more advanced things, and if you want to set up something kind of automated, you're gonna go back to on a regular basis, then you better have a process where you take out the Search Console data in maybe, let's say, Google Sheets. You have it in there, and you build some reporting on top of that. The simplest things you could do once you have this data extracted from Search Console is, for example, having the daily data aggregated into weeks or months, in years, and so on and so forth, which you can't really do in the interface. But once you extract the daily data, then you can aggregate it in whatever way that works for you. And equally, landing pages. More often than not, you don't really look at individual landing pages. You're interested more in a range or the kind of type of pages. So you might want to add some landing page categorization into your report. You can do some very simple VLOOKUPs or if formulas just to really categorize your landing pages, and then build some simple even reports on top of that. And then the fun comes when you start categorizing queries, which you can also keep it very simple. You can make it more advanced, but the simplest thing you would do in order to categorize your queries is just splitting your brand terms, all the different variations of your brand terms, and maybe some other, and you could put everything else into one single bucket. But more often than not, you want to have different categories. Let's say your e-commerce site, let's say you're selling, I don't know, shoes. So you will obviously want to always have a group of keywords which are brand keywords, but then you might want to have a group of keywords which are like Nike shoes versus, I don't know, baby shoes or versus something else. So once you start categorizing that data that is already extracted outside of the interface, there's so much, like I said, there's so much you could do. For example, like more specifically, if you want to use this data to understand what's driving traffic change, whether it's increase or drop, right? Let's say you look at Google Analytics and you see that search traffic has gone up, like organic traffic has gone up, has gone down by a lot. So the next step would be to drill down into landing pages data or even query data in Search Console to understand which queries are driving that clicks increase. And it's very difficult to do that when you don't have those queries categorized. But if you do have them categorized with some VLOOKUPs or something like that, then the process of understanding what's driving the increase or the change, it becomes much, much easier. So kind of retrospectively, you can use that data to understand what's driving change in the volumes, whether positive or negative. But there's also many ways you can use the data to grow your traffic or to get you ideas as to how to grow your business. Again, let's say you're an e-commerce site. Again, then let's say you're selling batteries, like car batteries. And you have a very limited range of products currently. Let's say you have loads of batteries already selling on your site, but you have maybe one or two, very little of some other product category that you're not really currently focusing on. But let the Search Console data, you can look at it, and then if you see that there may be some product categories or product types or names or keywords that may not necessarily get a lot of clicks, but you're getting a lot of impressions. So what is suggesting you is that there is demand for this type of products or this particular product. So what I would personally do, and I've done it in the past because I had my own e-commerce site, I look at the data and then I expand my product range. So I literally shift my focus from selling product A to selling product B, C, or whatever it is. So I look at the Search Console impressions data, not even clicks, but the impressions, to understand where is the demand. And then I increase the number of landing pages. That's kind of guiding me in the direction of where the demand is. So instead of having, like I was talking about the car batteries company, if I see there's a lot of impressions coming for bulbs, like electric bulbs for the house or something like that, I currently only have only one product in that range. I might expand that product range and have many of those types of bulbs because I see there seems to be a demand for it. And you can even fake it. You can even sometimes create a landing page and just see what happens. Is this getting traction? Like just to see, because it does take time to build impressions, to build a position, right? And I've done it personally. I would create a landing page or a fake product, which I don't already have in stock. But I see there's a lot of demand for it because there's lots of impressions on Google. So I would create a fake product as if I'm selling it. Google starts scrolling it. Now over time, I'm starting to get impressions. And then if I see it's actually working, I'm actually getting impressions, and over time may lead to clicks, then I actually decide to actually get this product in stock. Okay,
Love
so I've done this kind of things a lot. Like I had an online supermarket in Mauritius which I then sold. And I would many times repeat the same kind of strategy of looking at Search Console, finding high impression products or product ranges, product categories, and I would create landing pages for those type of products, even if I don't already have them in stock. And then I will see what happens. And also I would say, if you are an e-commerce site, let's say again you're selling shoes or clothing, I strongly recommend having generally as many landing pages as possible, but in different ways, as in you have product pages. Obviously you have a product, you have a page for every product, but then you also have page for every product category, right? Because more often than not, people search for not a very specific product, they search for a type of product or a category.
Mm-hmm.
But the next best thing to do also is having landing pages for brands as well. Let's say you're selling shoes, you're selling Nike, you're selling Adidas, you're selling other brands. You should have landing pages for all the brands you're selling, because very often people are searching for those things. And again, your source of data, or to give you ideas as to what people are searching for, again, might be Search Console. And if you're not already seeing impressions for that brand name or whatever it is, you may create a page. As I was saying earlier, you may create a page, pretend as you're selling it, right? And as if you have it in stock, and then see if you're getting anything out of it. That kind of approach I've used in different ways. Another way, and I've seen it for other companies, and very large companies as well, is you can even create landing pages about your competitors. And why would you do that, right? It's going to be obviously very difficult to rank well for your competitor brand name, like let's say British Airways versus EasyJet, right? Let's say you are British Airways. Why would you create a landing page about EasyJet? I know it kind of doesn't make sense, but many companies do that. They do that because there's two things. There's two things you can gain from that. One is once you start getting impressions for that competitor brand name with that landing page that you've created, you're able to spy on them. You're basically able to understand what's the demand for their brand. So there's your brand, there's their brand. Then you look at the SEO impressions for both, and you see, are you growing? Are you growing the market share or not? Like, how are you doing versus your competitors? Obviously, as I said, difficult it's going to be to rank highly for your brand, like competitor name, but I've seen it so many times. Still, as long as you're on page 1 of Google, you will see the impressions. So you will know how many searches there is on Google, right?
Brilliant.
So you're able to spy on them. I've seen that so many times. Yeah, I'm not going to give out names, but yeah, I've seen many companies doing
Cool.
it. And it's a very, it's a high intent. Another thing I would say that also to do that is not just to spy on them, but also to get traffic. You can also get traffic, because very often, especially if you're creating a landing page about a brand which is already fairly well known, the chances are there's a lot of people searching for that brand. And let's say there is, 10,000 of searches a week. Even if you get 1% of it, right? Because you're on position, 8 or 9, 7. You are out there. So even that amount is still something, okay? And those people searching for your brand are likely they have high intent, like high purchase intent, right? They are specifically looking for certain product or certain solution, right? So I often hear SEO people saying that it's so difficult to rank for those brand terms, but as I say, it's a very easy thing to do for you, right? You can just create a landing page, but the benefits can really be quite good.
Nice, love it. Yeah, I like this approach, to spy impressions, on this volume. Yeah, never thought about this. Yeah, I need to consider. Yeah, of course, we create pages for other, review brands or something like this, and we can get additional traffic. But I never thought to spy about impressions. So yeah, brilliant idea.
Yeah, you may not even get any clicks from it, but you're able to spy on them, which is
true. Yeah, let's call analyzing your competitors to get more accurate data.
And another thing I would just add to that, it's a bit similar to that, if you're already fairly well established for a given keyword or a given kind of category or type of keywords, you also use your SEO impressions data in Search Console to understand changes in search demand. Right? There can be sometimes like, especially if you're in a very highly seasonal kind of industry, right, in sector. But let's say train tickets, like during COVID, for example, no one was traveling, right? People were not searching for train tickets or trains during COVID. For those train companies who were already fairly well established, they were able to then use Search Console data, the SEO impressions specifically, to understand change in demand. So how much of my drop is driven by demand and how much of it is driven by something else, right? So yeah, very often Search Console is a really good source of kind of understanding what's happening with the market or in the market. As long as you're pretty well established on Google for those terms, you can use Search Console to understand changes in demand.
Love it, love it. Okay, let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. For example, I see when webmasters are using other tools, when Google Search Console has much accurate data, for example, ranking positions, traffic, impressions, because if you use Ahrefs or any other tools, you can't get such accurate data that you can find on Google Search Console because it's from Google. For example, I'm using Ahrefs when I need to check out my competitors or their links. So Ahrefs is much better with that because Google Search Console doesn't provide this data. Even your backlinks, you get only small percent of your backlinks. I don't know why, but we can get more sophisticated data with other tools. And it's the same, for example, to use Google Search Console for technical errors. Screaming Frog can provide a lot more information, but Search Console less. But all these technical errors are coming from Google, and for me, it's better to fix them than errors on other great tools. What do you think? How to find advantages that work much better on Google Search Console, and when the data is not good, or for example, it's better to use other tools? What do you think?
Well, I would say definitely when it comes to competitors, unless you already doing what I said kind of earlier, as in you already are able to use your Search Console impressions to see what's happening with the competitors. I think for looking at competitors and especially their rankings, if you care about how well they are ranking on Google, not so much about the volume of searches, but the rankings, then you definitely have to use other tools. I think the main benefit of Search Console is, yes, for issues or technical issues on your site, that should be the main source of information, right, for you. That's for sure. And secondly, also to understand what's driving or isn't driving growth within your own business, and also using it to come up with new ideas for growth and testing things. But when it comes to understanding your competitors, as much as there are some things you can do in Search Console, kind of mentioned a few of them already, but I think the main benefit of using those third-party tools is exactly that, as in comparing yourself with the competition. You could obviously, there's other ways of doing it. You could build a little web scraper of some sort as well, but those tools come pretty handy when you don't already have those things in place. So I would say for competitor really monitoring, and even sometimes understand even especially at the keyword level, if they give you keyword level data for your competitors, and that can be pretty handy. But when it comes to your own site performance and errors and all of that, and even changes in your traffic, then Search Console should be your first primary source of information.
Okay, we have a question. It's not related to Google Search Console. It's more about GA4, Google Analytics 4 version. And okay, we can unite, by the way, Google Search Console and GA4, to get to get data from different perspectives. For example, if you use Google's Analytics, you can find all these queries from Search Console in one tool. Yeah, I love it. Let's talk about GA4. Can you tell why this tool is better than Google Universal Analytics, and do we need to use both version, or it's better to pay attention with a new version? What do you think?
I think the sooner you, if you're using GA currently, Universal Analytics currently, the sooner you set up GA4, the better, because you do want to have an overlap. Okay, you do want to have both running at the same time, and the reason being is, well, there's a number of reasons. The few that come to my mind is the fact that you want to be able to kind of compare the two tools for a while to really to understand and get used to the differences in the setup, like the tool. Like you want to start using the tool, getting used to it. You still want to be able to use your current tool that you're so familiar with. But then the sooner you start using GA4, you are able to learn the tool, spot the differences. But also, you will be able to find out any tracking issues sometimes as well. So you will basically have time to make any changes to your tracking. So I would say the sooner you start, maybe not using GA4, but have it already configured on your site as soon as possible. And yes, the GA4 is not completely ready, as in to completely switch from Universal Analytics to GA4. But the reality is that for those who do want to continue using Google Analytics, one or another, they do have to learn GA4, whether they like it or not. It's just a question of when, and I would say the sooner the better. And as much frustrating it can be at first, because it is for me as well, because someone who's been using Universal Analytics for so many years, it is frustrating having to switch. But I think the sooner we switch and get used to it, the better. And we obviously need to expect still changes over time to be made to GA4.
Love it. Yeah.
There's, I would say, one, I think, main benefit in GA4, and I'm saying that from someone who comes with very much marketing analytics background, is the attribution in GA4 is going to be much better.
Yeah, my line metric about engagement, because in Universal Analytics we have the metric bounce rate, and this metric confuses everyone. Yeah, I have bad bounce rate. Why do you think it's bad? Because people left your website, they get everything what they need and they left. So, but in GA4 we have another metric. It's called engagement, so we can get more accurate data. It's my preferable, if I compare both.
I would say it's
versions.
a natural reaction for people to get frustrated. It's very natural. No one likes changes. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be difficult to convince people. And I do agree there's still a lot of things in GA4 that currently is not really working well, but I think they're gonna get there eventually. And the fact they're actually making this major step, a major change, is actually a good thing going forward. As much as painful it is, it's a good thing that it's happening, and we just have to get on with it, I guess. But I do suspect there's going to be lots of companies using this as an opportunity to completely move away from Google Analytics entirely and move to other solutions.
Yeah. If they are not leaving Google Analytics Universal, Google can help you with that. Like in a year, we can have this metric, this tool. Okay, let's talk about Google Search Console. For example, if I find a list of technical errors for my website, I send them to my web developer, and they usually fix like 30% of all these errors, and I get all this list. Do we need to fix all of them? Because some systems can't do it. For example, on Wix, Spotify, Shopify, you can't fix all errors. On WordPress, we are more flexible with that, but anyway, we can't fix all of them. We can't get a green line according to page speed and size. Can you tell, do we need to do it, or how to find priorities or critical errors that like a must have to fix?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm an expert when it comes to technical errors.
Mm-hmm.
I do have errors on my side as well. I somehow manage to always fix them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an issue for me, but maybe you might want to try with a different developer. Maybe it's that the developer is not able to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone else will be able to fix it.
Yeah.
So I've never come across, to be honest, a situation where I was just stuck and unable
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to do it. I would say this: don't aim to be perfect. No one ever is, or anything. Nothing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will always get some kind of errors, like with GTM, for example. No matter how well your implementation is done, you will always get some weird warnings and nonsense appearing. But not as long as you get the 80% out of 100 right,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're still ahead of most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, nice. Yeah, I agree with that. For example, if we check out the top 10 results, I can see they have the same errors, a lot of errors. Even Amazon has like green
Yeah.
zone for many pages, and they don't care about that. They have this ranking positions, traffic. Why they need to care a lot about that? So I think it's more important about UX, user experience, than
Yeah,
technical
definitely.
errors. Yeah, by the way, we can check out this metric on Google Search Console. Can you tell how to understand this metric? For example, I can understand user experience when I open the page. I can see, okay, it's hard written without multimedia, hard to understand how to find information. But on Google Search Console, it's more about technical errors. It's not like time, speed, many different technical errors. What do you think? How to learn user experience by Google Search Console, or it's better to do this job manually?
Well, you can't really use Search Console to understand user experience, can you? There's no metrics for that.
They have dev metric. It's more about technical errors.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not related to real user experience. Yeah, they unite by the way on their guidelines with UX. But when I check out manually, I can see some different angle that robots can't analyze. How it's simple to use, personalization, many other stuff about written text. But on I think for example speed of your loading website, yeah, it hurts user experience, and Google shares more about that. When for example your speed is low, and Google is trying to help you that you need to increase speed, because if I remember correctly, like 20% of users left website for each second of loading. For example, if your website is loading like 5 seconds, each second you can lose like 20% of users. It's a lot, by the way.
yeah.
So yeah, and
Especially if your users are
mhm.
based in a place where there's no great internet. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about how to learn Google Search Console. For example, if someone wanna know more about this tool, do they need to take some courses, or learn themselves, or find some great blog posts? Provide your insights. How actually you learn this tool?
It's funny you're asking. So I learned by doing, but it
Mm-hmm.
took me a while, and I'm actually starting to create a course on that.
Nice.
I've never come across any really useful resource when it comes to Search Console. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's all meant to be just for SEO people, where it really is not. A Search Console,
Mm-hmm.
it's such a powerful source of data. Um, so I would say at the minute, just learn by doing and
Mm-hmm.
experimenting, and take out that data outside of the interface if you can, using like Google
Mm-hmm.
Sheets add-ons, for example, which is completely free. But the next best thing would be to do my course once it's ready.
Nice, nice. Okay, when you have this course, you can share with me. I'll share with my audience. By the way, my team is going to create our SEO course, and one topic will be about Google Search Console as well. So if you have time, to film a video about this course, like 10-20 minutes, it will be great. I'll share this video, all your social media profiles, and your course as well, so you can cover a lot more people, to help them with Google Search Console. Yeah, it will be great. Only if you have this time, yeah, it will be great to help them with that, because we're going to sell. Yeah, it's our goal. We don't know. I don't want to build high expectations. Yeah.
I'll just add on to that. So in addition to doing the course, we're actually going to be building a tool. We're going to be building a tool which allows to do all those things, or many other things I was saying earlier, but doing them in a more automatic way. So building a tool that extracts Search Console data and then enhances it, and it builds reports for you, a much better reports than you see in the interface. So me and my team, we are starting to work on it at the minute. So yeah, watch the space, but I'm very excited for it.
Nice.
That's gonna have the query categorization, landing pages categorization, all of that in it.
Yeah, cool. And I think we have no such courses today. Even yeah, we are going to create a course about SEO, and yeah, one of the topics will be about Google Search Console. But I think we have no such courses because it's simple to use, And when people open Google Search Console, they think, oh, it's simple, I don't need to take any courses. But they ignore a lot of useful data, valuable data. And even in my team, when I ask, please tell me about crawl budget, about technical errors, about many other stuff, and yeah, it's ignored. So yeah, I think it will great. It will be great to have such course.
The tool is so easy that it's so easy to misinterpret things, and I say it so much, especially for companies that have a lot of SEO traffic. And it may sometimes look as if position is improving, but it may actually be going the other way around. And there is so many weird things that may happen, and if you don't take them into account, it's very easy to misinterpret the data.
Nice.
So it's not as easy as it seems to be. It's just, I don't know, they made it so easy, it looks so easy, but it's not actually that easy. You may be looking at something and drawing conclusions, but they may be completely wrong. Unless you're looking at maybe the very specific one keyword, but let's say you're looking at across a range of keywords and you're looking at the average position, it may look good, but it actually can be going bad. It's very easy to misinterpret. Can I just one little topic I wanted to bring up here? I know it's not something really we want to
sure.
about, but not sure how much you've heard of it, but semantic search. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
So generally, which it's something that I guess SEO people mostly are aware of. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because this semantic search thing, which I'll just explain maybe for everyone, is basically the fact that Google is increasingly moving away from using the keywords themselves to using intent. So when they look at the search query that is there on Google, they try to understand the intent of that person. Which in the SEO world may not be impacting people as much, but in the paid search world, it's starting to, because semantic search used to be applicable to organic search only, but nowadays it's also applicable to paid search, meaning that if someone is doing paid search and it's bidding on a keyword with exact match, the reality is that they will increasingly see other keywords appearing in their campaigns. That is because Google is no longer really just relying on keywords themselves. Google it decides what is or what isn't the same intent. So for anyone doing paid search and seeing some weird behaviors in their campaigns, like weird keywords appearing, this is the reason. It's probably this is the reason, as in the Google's move towards semantic search, meaning that you're having less and less control over the keywords that you're actually bidding on. So the solution to that really is to make sure you are using your search term reports very well. So don't just look at the keywords that you're targeting, but also the actual search terms you are appearing on Google. Those reports are available in Google Ads. And the other thing also is need to really use negative keywords, which is a feature as well of Google Ads. So use of negative keywords is also becoming increasingly important. And also, just again, I should have said that at the start, the reason why Google is moving to semantic search as opposed to syntactic search, which is keyword-based, is the fact that I think 15% of the search queries they see every day on Google, they are first time ever search queries. They are new. So the long tail is just so long. For paid search teams and even for SEO teams, to capture all of the intent, to capture all of those keywords is just impossible, because those keywords continue to evolve, continue to change. There's always some new keywords appearing on Google, as in users are searching for new things. So that's, I guess, Google's solution to that. They are trying to move away from using keywords as such to using the intent. Which, as I was saying, probably is more important for paid search, because teams, because they pay for that traffic, they need to be careful about what they're actually bidding on. That's really what I wanted to mention on that, because it's... Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you heard. I saw it yesterday. I think it was, 2 days ago, the 31st of May. So apparently Apple may be launching its own search engine.
Which one? Yeah, I heard about that. From Apple, yeah?
It's from
Apple will provide new search engine.
Yeah, Apple.
Yeah.
Apple. And I think we will know for sure next week, because they have the conference and there may be an announcement. It's just a rumor at the minute. It may or may not happen, but looks like it might happen. It's been a rumor for like a number of years, because there's this unofficial deal, I think, between Google and Apple, where Apple continues to use or keeping Google as the default search engine on the Apple devices, and then Google gets, or they have to pay something to Apple. I think it's quite unofficial. Anyways, that's been a deal for a number of years now, but looks like Apple might be coming up with their own search engine, and that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure that Apple can compete in the first stage with Google, because Google has this experience, many years of experience. And, it's like when I was trying to use Apple Maps, it's hard to compete with Google Maps, because more accurate data. But Apple is good with creating their gadgets, Safari, many other stuff. So I love, I have MacBooks, I have Apple, everything, many gadgets, AirPods, even many other stuff. But we will see. Who knows? Probably Apple.
I do agree with you when it comes to search. Google has the advantage of the experience and all of that, but then Apple has its own advantage as well, because so many people have their devices in their hand.
Yeah. And by the way, Google pays $15 billion to be default search engines
that's what I'm saying.
in Safari. Interesting. Yeah, Apple can lose $15 billion, to provide their search engine. Yeah, we will see. Who knows about that? Yeah. Thanks a lot, for all your valuable insights. It's a big pleasure to learn from you. Tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Analyticshacker.com is my website. You can also find me on LinkedIn, I guess. So feel free to reach out. And as I was saying, we're going to be coming up with a Search Console related course soon, and also a search analytics tool will follow that as well. But it was a pleasure to discuss those things with you today. Thank you for having me again.
Okay, guys, you can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Love learning. Welcome back anytime to share more value with my audience. And of course, guys, you need to follow Agnes to learn more from her and learn from her course. Yeah, I'm excited to learn about that. I definitely will buy this course because I know that Google Search Console looks simple, but we have so much insights when you know how to use them. Okay, guys, love you. See you.